Awesome. It does show us live, so I will be double checking here on my other devices to make sure that this is streaming well for everyone to be able to start joining us. Great. And I'm also starting to see that notification button and that people are beginning to tune in with us. So this will be the time where I give some housekeeping so it doesn't eat totally into our talk time today. But good morning, afternoon, or evening, whenever it is that you are taking the time to watch this video and get caught up on some of the city updates. I want to officially thank you for staying updated on what's going on in our community. And if you are a first time viewer, whether you're viewing this on our YouTube channel or Facebook, then I want to thank you for taking part, taking on an active role. And we continue to have newer folks that join our stream. So we want to welcome you into our organization, into kind of our network, and encourage you to also follow our page here on Facebook, to like it so you can get notified when we post content. If you're viewing it on YouTube, you can always hit the subscribe button so others in your network, subscribe button will actually notify you whenever we're done with the video. The share button will allow you to share this out to others in your network, and they can also join in and pick up some of the information that we share your way. With that, I want to go ahead and also emphasize that these videos are available to you at any point in time to rewatch, rewind, and replay. They are available in the video section, both here on our Facebook page and our YouTube platform, and allow you to still comment with us even if we're no longer live. The hashtag replay allows us to be able to see when you actually tuned in, and it's a lot easier for us to pull up any questions or comments later on if you give us that, so we can know that you actually have something you want answered from our end. That being said, we often have people that are not necessarily totally comfortable with asking a question if it's very private to them or specific to their needs. You are more than encouraged to also share that question with us directly to the page, and we will be able to share that with our guests and hopefully be able to get that taken care of for you. With that, I do also want to reiterate one last thing before I introduce our guest for today and for this morning segment, and that is the comment feature that's included in this video. This is our way of kind of knowing if we're hitting the nail on the head with some of these comments that we're making. It's also our way to see if you have any comments on the information that we share, any questions that are raised up, or just any questions in general that we don't necessarily touch on, but you want our guests to speak to. So the comment section is going to be your friend. Of course, if it's anything that's wildly offensive, then I never share it out. But if it's something that is digestible, palatable, we'll be able to get it out there. And 99 times out of 100, that's generally the case. I do want to go ahead and pull up our first comment, and that's from Parker Brown. I also see Lance tuned in on here. If you guys react to the video and you don't make a comment, that's also another way for us to see who's tuned in. But Parker is already giving a good morning message over to Mark and myself. Thank you for tuning in, Parker. This is how it shows up for us on our end. And then we also have one of our YouTube viewers, Dave Carpenter, giving a quick good morning to our city manager and myself as well. And Dave just wanted to go ahead and give a quick comment, which I think sets the tone for this introduction, Mark. And he just wanted to share as a quick comment that he has truly appreciated your responsiveness since you've joined the city, and that it's very much appreciated. So for those of you that are tuned in with us and have not had the pleasure of meeting Mark yet, this is a great way that you'll get to hear from him through our weekly segments. We rotate our counselors, our mayor, and our city manager manager now. And Mark is of course, it's no longer super new now, but he's still relatively new as our city manager to the city of Westminster. But thank you so much for being on here, Mark, with me. And I do want to turn this over to you so they can hear more of you and less from me.
Super. Thank you, Juliet, and to the listeners and those that are tuned in. It's great to be here. And so, to Juliet's point, I've been here 6 months now, and so great to be here. Great to join the community and to lead the city team. So, just want to say thank you for the opportunity to help get the message out. And so, so glad to join the conversation.
Absolutely. And in 6 months, you've done quite a bit. You've also familiarized yourself. I know that was a big part of what your goal was to figure out what's the city doing already, where are we involved, what are those resources, and pinning them down. You've compiled some things that you wanted to go ahead and share with us just off the get-go. And so I will just have you kind of get us started with that. And if we have any comments that come through or questions on it, then I'll be able to pull it. And I know I was about to say, like, I'll turn it over to you, but our mayor popped in, so I have to bring her up here. Mayor McNally wanted to give us a quick good morning message as well. All right, Mark, now it's officially yours.
Yep. Thanks, Juliet. And so for those folks that are tuned in, I would say, my big message, and certainly something that I heard as I interviewed last summer and in conversations with the mayor and with Jody Andrews, who was the interim city manager, and then folks that, I've met as I've onboarded over these past many months. And that is, the community is looking for the city to be accessible, to be responsive, certainly to be transparent, and to be accountable. Mm-hmm. And so I continue to push that message to the city staff, and I invite folks that if you have a question, you want to ask something, or you have a concern, or, frankly, an idea, we want to hear from you. Please reach out. And so I would normally end with this, but I'm going to start out with this. And that is, my email address is mfreitag, note the spelling on the last name, at cityofwestminster.us. And so reach out via email. You can call me at 303-658-2006. And so if you have something for the city, we are here to serve you. And so I would encourage you to reach out, and I will make sure that we get a good answer back to you. May not necessarily be the answer that you like, but we will certainly follow up with you and make sure that we're answering your questions. So that's been a big push for us. And when I talk about responsive, my task to the staff is, I know that it's not always perfect to be responsive in a 48-hour business window, but 48 hours, 2 days, business days, we want to get an answer back to you. So and if we can't, I've asked my staff to follow up with folks and say, hey, this is going to take me longer than 2 days to get an answer for whatever reason, and then when we will respond. And so please understand, we're here to be responsive, certainly to the community, and happy to answer questions, listen to comments, concerns, or ideas. So wanted to say that up front. As I said, I've been here for 6 months. I'm living in downtown, in the new downtown in Westminster Row. Just love it. Love being down there. And frankly, I love being as close as I am to City Hall. Makes the morning commute a good one. So doing that. And then for those who haven't, met me yet, my background, my first career was in the United States Army. I did that for 26 years. And when I retired, I was a colonel looking for something to do in the civilian sector. And so kind of fell back on my time as the Fort Hood Garrison Commander. And that is the Army equivalent to a city manager. And so applied all over the place and got hired in a smaller community in Wisconsin, did that for 9 years. And so here I am. But I know you didn't tune in to listen to my background. And so I did want to share with you a few things focused really on business here in the community. And I think the first thing that I'd like to remind people about, and that is, this past week, we wrapped up Small Business Week. And so, a lot of great folks, that's the driver for our economy, and that is the small businesses that serve us each and every day. And so We certainly appreciate all that our small business owners are doing and those that are working in our small businesses. But folks may not know about all of the assistance programs that the city does offer. And my economic development team provided me a sheet. Let's go this way with some of those programs. And Juliet, I'll make sure that I email that to you. You probably already have access to it and have shared it. But if not, I want to make sure that you and your membership have it. Just to start out, there's a small business capital project grant. Up to $5,000 per business per calendar year. And the program reimburses 10% of the cost of real property improvements or tangible property purchases, again, up to $5,000. So not a bad deal for a small business. Another one is the Small Business Scholarship Program. And what this program reimburses is 50% of the cost of tuition fees and required materials up to $1,000 per business per calendar year after successful completion. So if somebody, wants to take coursework, certifications, things like that, that's a grant opportunity, a scholarship opportunity that's available. Another one is the Sustainable Business Accelerator Grant. The program reimburses about 75% of eligible expenses up to $5,000 per business per calendar year. And those are, sustainability upgrades to a small business. Another one is the Business Facelift Grant. And so this is financial assistance for reimbursement for eligible improvements down in historic Westminster. So if folks have businesses in historic Westminster, they're eligible for this grant. It's 50% of eligible property improvements of up to $5,000 per business per calendar year. And then lastly is a job training incentive grant, which again, funds are available for hiring recent graduates from local institutions. And the program reimburses up to $5,000 plus an additional 25% if hiring from a local institution per business per calendar year. So some great grant opportunities for small businesses in the community. If you're looking for more information on those, you can go to our economic development webpage, which is westminstereconomicdevelopment.org. And so those are all posted there. I would also highlight a couple trainings that our city staff, the Economic Development Office, offers. And that is we have City 101 trainings, and these are specifically designed to inform and educate businesses on programs and resources that are available through the City of Westminster. And then in cooperation with our regional partners, certainly we have business growth trainings. And these are trainings that are produced in conjunction with those partners to highlight any topics, issues, things like that, that may be helpful to our to business growth. And so again, Juliet, I'll forward that over to you, but I wanted to make sure that everybody had that. The other thing that I would tell you about is the council recently approved a new program using CDBG funding, so Community Development Block Grant funding. And that is, it's called the Housing Lift Program. And so for the folks that own and operate affordable housing projects, or units here in our community, there is money up to $5,000 per project that could be used. There's an application involved. They recently awarded 2 grants of up to $500,000 for those projects. And this can include things like roofing, HVAC, windows, sprinkler systems, really the nuts and bolts of that affordable housing project. So, that's a great program. And as long as we have CDBG funding available, we'll continue to sustain that program. But just a great way to make capital improvements to those affordable housing projects. The other thing that I would share with you, if it's okay, and that is, kind of reaching back into my Army training. The Army taught us as a young cadet, young officer about what we call troop leading procedures. And not that they necessarily apply verbatim to the civilian sector, but one of the steps of troop leading procedures is after you receive a mission or you are given a problem set to resolve, as you work through that, Part of that is conduct reconnaissance. It's the fifth step of 8 in troop leading procedures. And so, as we've had projects or new ideas presented to us, I've really worked with the staff that, hey, we want to get out, and if we want to get out and see what these projects look like, get eyes on, essentially, pull the bedspread back and look at the mattress, right? And so we've done 2 trips so far in our community. We've got one more scheduled here, the 1st of June. But the first project was, people have been talking about bringing tiny homes to the community. And what do they look like and how are they operated, et cetera. And so we took a field trip up to Longmont, put, call it a dozen or so city employees, leaders, technical experts. And we went up to look at the Veterans Community Project up there in Longmont, which is, essentially it's a larger housing development that will have homes and townhomes, condos, et cetera, valued anywhere from $300,000 to $900,000. But they've taken 2 smaller portions of that larger development. One is a housing project that they're doing, for attainable housing, specifically with Habitat for Humanity. And then the other is a smaller tiny home community for veterans that are experiencing homelessness with a resource center on site. And so, again, recognizing that people are talking about that in the community, but we want to make sure everybody understands what it is, how it operates, what it looks like, what's the construction look like, et cetera. And so we went up and got eyes on. The second one that we did was we had a developer that approached us about some manufactured homes, and they introduced us to the builder of those manufactured homes, which is called Fading West, and they're headquartered in Buena Vista. And so, again, put a smaller group, probably about half a dozen folks, on a city van, and we drove down there to watch them build these houses that will eventually, as they're put together, turn into apartments, multifamily housing up in Breckenridge. And just a great process. But to be able to see what they're doing, how they're doing it, what's their process look like? Is this 20 years ago manufactured homes, or is this current day? And this is totally current day, totally cool. No waste on the floor. I was expecting sawdust everywhere. No sawdust, because this is put together perfectly. It is, precise, precision type of construction. My building official went on the tour with us, and he was just absolutely amazed at their process. It's all run by lean, essentially assembly procedures, and from start to finish, 10 days in that facility and out. And so a great program there. And then I recently was contacted by Erickson, who has invited the city staff to come down and visit their site in Highlands Ranch, which is a senior living facility, and it's proposed for one of our open available lots here in Westminster. And so, again, I told my team, I said, it just doesn't make sense for us to look at some plans, look at some elevations, look at some schematics, when we can drive, call it an hour and a half or so to the south and actually look at it and understand how it operates, what it looks like, what's the process, what's the system. And so, have really brought in to the development process that if we have the ability to go look at something, we're going to go look at something, because, it's easy to look at a piece of paper and say no, but until you can go look at something and feel and touch it and understand the bigger effect that it might have, I think we're really missing something. So we're going to be doing that. I think it's June 1st. We'll be visiting with them, and we appreciate them hosting our city leaders. And then if I could, just one more update on the downtown. I know I'm right at 11:20 already, so I'm just rolling through it. But like I said, I live in the downtown, and I just think that is such an awesome project for the community to wrap its arms around. And just want to make sure people know some of the current retailers that are getting ready to open. So this year, Marzick Fine Foods will open a grocery store that's in the old bank building, kind of on the, I guess, southwest corner. And we're excited about that one coming forward. We got Banchan, which is a Korean fried chicken place, which if it's not already open, it will be soon. Edward Jones Financial Services opening soon, if not already. A new one, this was new to me, Inks and Drinks, which is painting and wine. Totally cool. Put those together. And then a Mexican food restaurant, Vatos Tacos and Tequila, which sounds fun too. So some new retailers coming to the downtown. I know that everybody's anxiously waiting for the Sheridan Underpass project to finish up, and we're looking for that to be complete on June 10th. But knowing construction and how things work, I never like to say that's a firm date, but that's certainly the goal. Townhomes on Harlan, those are the new townhomes on kind of the upper northwest corner. But those were our first for sale residential units. They opened in January 23, and 34 townhomes are now occupied. So that's great. Some 17 new townhomes called Woonerf townhomes, 91st and Westminster Boulevard. They'll start construction this summer. So that's exciting. And then we've got some condominiums. That's a first for Westminster in quite some time that are coming in on the corner of Westminster Boulevard and 90th, kind of kitty corner from where I'm at in Westminster Row. Townhomes on 92nd, that's a new project. A total of 31 new townhomes going in up there. That's kind of on the north side of the Bolero. And then lastly, just across the street from Westminster Row on the north side is an active adult community. Total of 200 age-restricted units proposed, and so that's exciting. My wife is likes to tell me that I'm eligible to live there, and so she doesn't hold that one back. And then lastly, the city will be working on the city park, but the central park and gathering place, just to the on the east side of the current development. And so I've got a meeting next week where we're going to kind of flush through some of the details of that. But exciting things are happening in the downtown, and frankly, certainly in the greater community. And so I'll stop there if you've got any questions or follow on. But there you go, down and dirty.
It was also great. And I did my best to try and capture some of your comments for us in our chats. For those of you that are just now tuning in with us, we have City Manager of the City of Westminster, Mark Freitag, with us. His email and his phone number were provided already at the start. And I did go ahead and include those for all of you. So if you're interested in trying to reach out to Mark at a later point in time, that contact information is also available to you. I do just want to quickly recognize, because I see some other folks that joined us, Rex and Derek. I also saw Sarah on here, and I saw our Commissioner Tracy Kraft Tharp also tuned in. She's typed in on the other videos. I can't pull up the comment, but good morning to you as well, Tracy, and thank you so much for joining us. We also had some quick comments that came through, just quick remarks from our past board chairman, Brian Head, giving you a good morning message, and Lance, who used to be in our area. Hopefully we can bring him back with his drone company that was interested in kind of Colorado, but he's out in Florida now, still tuning in. So thank you for joining us as well, Lance. I think one of the things that you mentioned, and hopefully people have gleaned from your talking points, Mark, is that you do approach this with a very open mind when you hear of an idea or a thought. I appreciate and respect that, because you like to gain as much information, see what benefit it is and how it can work, if it can work for us, if it doesn't make sense. And I think that goes a long way. The comment that was received from Parker that I'm just going to quickly display on our screen for us so you'll be able to see, and then I'll read it out to you just as kind of a, something to keep in your mind. I know we talked on the number of programs that are available for our businesses. historic specific, of attainable or affordable housing specific, all the way to educational training reimbursement, and even facade improvements and other grants that are available and out there for even hiring those graduates that are coming out immediately from the colleges or trades that are there. This comment, of course, comes to us from another area business owner who's also our current board chairman. He's just sharing a quick appreciation for the grant programs that you have, but also emphasizing that they might not necessarily fit some of those small businesses that are in our market that are on under a different type of classification that restricts them from being able to access the funds. So was there anything you wanted to speak to on this, or is that just something we can note and perhaps kind of look at also in the future?
Yeah, absolutely. Good question, and didn't really think through that, but certainly understand the problem set. And so let me go back to the economic development team and see whether there are funding restrictions that we are imposing, or whether they're from the funding source that we are getting the funds from. And so I got to dig into that a little bit, but thank you very much for bringing that one up.
Yes, absolutely. And thank you for answering that for us, Mark. I also see a different Mark that's tuned in. So, Mark Jeffrey, thank you for engaging with us on our broadcast today. If you all have any comments or questions for our guests today, now is the time to type them into the chat, as I'm quickly skimming some of our notes and things that we've talked about and gone over for you. And if I don't see any questions, then I'll go ahead and start wrapping this up. But one of the items that Mark shared earlier, especially at the start, was that we finally closed out Small Business Week, which was this past week. I know the city did provide a proclamation on that Monday of the Small Business Week to honor a local small business that was in the area. And we did have some robust programming around that as a chamber. So if you guys have not already done so, you can still engage with those businesses that are offering promotions and discounts till this day. We've got 2 more that we're about to be posting out what their offers are, but still support them because they are running that all the way for the next week or so. And so we want to be able to invest locally. The other thing that I want to reemphasize to you is that we interviewed about 4 different businesses for you also. You get a behind the scenes of who they are, what they do, and how you can support them. That is all available to you in the video section here on our page, so you can get to learn more about them. We also interviewed a couple of our small business owners on our KUHS radio segments this past Friday as well. So internet radio is still hot and popular. You can find those videos and recording available as well. And then the final piece I want to leave out on Small Business Week, and you can tell that I'm like waiting to see if there's any other questions that are coming in, right? But the final piece around that is we did also release our webinars. Those webinars are member exclusive. So if you are a member of ours and have not seen that come through, whether it's by email or any communication method that we already engage with you, please contact us so we can get you that webinar. We've got transitioning during turbulent times, upgrading your website, and things that are beneficial for your website, all the way to what you as an employer could be implementing right now with regulation, because we don't want you to be missing out on something that you should be doing that has come into effect because of laws that have been passed. Parker just shared he wanted to give you a thanks for all you do. You're truly appreciated. And then the question that came through, and this will be a great question for us to kind of answer and then kind of close our segment. But Dave is asking if you have a time frame for filling the open department head positions. He knows that there's still interim managing going on, and that there are other vacancies as well. Can you speak to some of those?
Yeah, absolutely. And so we currently have our public works director position is an interim. We have an interim IT director. And so the first one that will get done is the public works director. That will be advertised this summer. Hope to have somebody in the seat early fall. The IT director will follow close on the heels of that one. So publish that or post that late summer, and hopefully have somebody in towards the end of the year in IT. Since I've been here, we've hired an HR director, and we've also hired the police chief, obviously. And so, a lot of moving pieces. I'm not so sure whether that's just my arrival or whether, that's just the ebb and flow of city government post 2000 or post the pandemic. So, a lot of activity, a lot of movement. Frankly, turnover is something that we watch very, very closely. And so we were hovering. I think our vacancy rate right now is about 8.5% for an 1,100 person workforce. And we certainly pay attention to that turnover rate and what are the reasons that people are leaving.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for getting that answered. And Dave, I hope that takes care of your question that you had come through. Mark, I don't see any additional comments or questions our way, so I will leave you all with this. We'll be back on here again on Monday, this time with another one of our counselors to give you updates on what's been transpiring from this evening, and of course the upcoming things on the radar for that next Monday. And then I also want to emphasize, if you haven't already purchased your awards gala tickets, the RCPs are closing, so get on that and get on that fast. I will see you, Mark, at the gala, and I thank you so much for including us into your schedule and making this a priority for you to be able to share and communicate out to our community members. So thank you once again.